Back in the day, my younger brother used to tell us about his other grandparents and the blue house they used to live in. After always telling him he was making it up, he told our mother he could bring her there, so we went for a drive. And this 5-year-old little psycho gave her turn-by-turn directions for close to 45 minutes. We ended up 4 to 5 towns away at the dead-end street with an abandoned blue house. When my son was 3, he started singing a Polish nursery rhyme that my husband's grandmother used to sing to all the babies in the family. She passed away before my son was born. We don't speak or sing Polish. I was hiking alone in the woods with my son, who was 7. It was eerie quiet. Out of nowhere, he says, "The woods demand a sacrifice." When my daughter was 2, we were walking above a creek and stopped to look at it. She stared at it silently and then pointed and said, "I died in there." 1991, worked at a pediatrician's office, screening a 5-year-old for therapy. He lived in the country, no friends, homeschooled, parents had no TV. Mid-screen, he looks at me and said, "Your brother saved my life in a desert storm." I went cold and pale. My brother was in Iraq. A kid I babysat once asked me to play in the basement, and when we were down there playing, he said, "When they put you in a box, nobody can hear you. Nobody can hear you down here either." Then he bit me. My mom went upstairs for a nap. My middle son asked her if she was happy she'd be seeing Jesus soon. Putting my half-brother down for a nap, he goes, "I can't sleep with that mean little boy staring at me." He points to the dark closet. We didn't take a nap. We went to the beach instead. My son, at 5 years old, "Daddy, I'm gonna eat you up." "Aw." "Yeah, I'm gonna cut you into little pieces." It's not as creepy as the rest of these, but I was babysitting for my mom's coworker from 6 to 7. He was playing some video games when he got up and somehow locked us in the basement. Standing in front of the door, he slowly turned to me and said, "Now you're stuck with us." He was an only child, so I was confused as to who us was. I called his mom to say we were locked in the basement, and she goes, "I told him not to do that. He likes to keep everyone he likes down there." 3-year-old, alone in the tub, sitting to one side, starts getting visibly upset at nothing on her left side. "Tell him I don't like that. Tell him to leave me alone." She started crying uncontrollably. "He won't leave." I got her out of the tub immediately. Woke up in the dead of night in total darkness. Thought someone had called for me, but it was quiet. Didn't notice that my 3-year-old had crept in and was standing directly beside my bed until he whispered in my ear, "I used to have a train set when I was grandpa." My 3-year-old, "Mama, what happens to us when we die?" Me, panicking, not ready. Well, 3-year-old, "Oh, never mind, I remember. We become new again." Smiles and walks away. I work with 4th graders. Had this one boy chipping the yellow paint off a pencil, look me dead in the eye and say, "I'm scraping this pencil like I want to scrape my teacher's skin." Me, my mom, and my niece were out shopping, and my mom picked out a dress, and my niece said, "That would look nice if you wore it to a funeral." On our way home from the store, my mom got a phone call that her cousin passed away. She wore that exact dress to the funeral. Does fruit scream when you peel it? I've been babysitting this little girl since she was maybe 2. Her birthday is June 6th of 2006. You know, 666. And one day I laid her down for a nap and she woke up screaming that she wasn't ready to go back home to him. Him as in God, I'm guessing? We're on a road trip and my 5-year-old says, "Mom, hold this." So I hold my hand behind me and continue my conversation with the husbands. Then I look down and see a bloody baby tooth and almost jump out of my skin. I mean, a little warning next time. I was about 16. I was in a grocery store with my mom, and a tiny child I'd never seen before suddenly latched himself around my leg, wouldn't let go, kept insisting I was his first mommy, sobbed when pried off me by his actual mother. I was about 2 months pregnant making grilled cheese sandwiches for my nephew, and I asked him if he wanted one. He told me no, he wanted a boy cheese sandwich, and the baby in my tummy could have the girl cheese sandwich. Come to find out months later, I was having a girl. When my twins were born, one of them took longer to talk. When she did start, it was in fluent Spanish, which we don't speak at home, nor does anyone who had come in contact with her at that time. We got my little sister a puppy over Christmas break. We waited till she was asleep, then went to pick up the puppy. So the next day she woke up, and when she saw the dog, instead of going all googly-eyed and happy, she said, "My baby, it's not time for you yet," then tried to pick up the dog and shove it in her mouth. He said, "Daddy, sleep," then pushed my head underwater at the pool. When I was younger, my mom caught me putting toys on the stairs. When she asked me why I was doing that, I said, "So Daddy can slip and fall." I wake up to find my 3-year-old standing by my bed, staring at me inches from me, with a huge grin on his face. He just stares and grins. "What are you doing?" I finally say. "Nothing." Still grinning. At this point, I realize he's got his hands behind his back. "Are you holding something?" "No." I look anyway. He's hiding our largest carving knife behind his back. I was heading to the bathroom on the second floor of my aunt's house when I saw my cousin April on the stairs. April was 4 and very animated. She was busy making funny faces when sitting on the stairs. I asked her what she was doing. She said, "I'm copying the lady with the braid." I looked around. There was no one else but us. I asked, "Where's the lady, April?" She pointed to a beam running parallel to the stairwell. I asked April, "What is the lady doing?" She said, "Making funny faces." I smiled and started walking up the stairs again when April said something that stopped me in my tracks. "April, her braid is around her neck." I turned back and asked April to repeat herself. April pointed. "The lady is hanging by her braid. She's making funny faces." Then April started making a funny face, which I realized was someone gasping for air. I was looking after Jack, a 5-year-old, who said a man named Jacob who dressed like a lumberjack was sitting next to me on the couch. He must have seen the shock in my face and said, "Don't worry, he doesn't have any arms." My friend and I were babysitting her 4-year-old cousin one night, and she really believed in all that reincarnation stuff and decided to test out her theories on her little cousin. She began asking him questions that he didn't quite understand, but then stated it simply. "What were you before you were kid's name?" He replied that he was conductor and waved his hands in the motion that a conductor would. The problem with this was the little boy was born blind. I was cuddling my friend's 3-year-old son, and he said very seriously, "I promise I won't ever chew on your bones. I promise."